Ladies and gentlemen, I am Engineer Noel K. Ngoy, and today I would like to present to you a paper on education that prepares the youth to bear responsibilities. I have an experience of 45 years as a technician from 1980 up to today, and I have learned a lot of things practically, which I think if I share to the youth, it will give them opportunity to be able to develop technologies. So these are the principles which will be considered when preparing that education for the African youth. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs chapter 12 verse 24, the hands of the diligent shall rule, but the lazy shall be required to pay taxes. So our education system prepares people who know a lot but they can do nothing. Now we need to prepare people who will be able to translate what they know into their hands. The hands of the diligent shall rule, but the hands of the lazy shall be made to pay taxes. Africans put a lot of effort on theoretical education rather than the practical education which prepares graduates to do things practically. Africa has put a lot of efforts on sciences rather than the technical education. So science is about knowing, but technology is about doing. Let us go to the doing side. Africa has a lot of resources which it cannot process, but depends on the foreigners to process the resources. So we have got mines, we have got gemstones, we have arable lands and whatever, but we cannot use that land or those resources profitably. So we need to prepare people who can use them for the benefit of Africa. The resources including minerals, gemstones, petroleum, arable land, and with sufficient rain and whatsoever. Africans, including intellectuals, think on small things and do not think of big things. We need to start thinking about formation of multinationals. Why not African intellectuals? It is the time we start improving. So we want to improve teaching of. We need to teach sciences and technical instructions, which will enable us to process our resources. We need to enable students to see opportunities and put them into practice. So our students will be enabled to be able to see opportunities and translate them into businesses. We need to invest in continuing education. We should not be satisfied with the education from the university, from certificates, but we need people who can learn continually. We need to have learning and unlearning. It is 60 years since the African countries got independence, but we are only thinking about theories and not translating the theories into solving our actual problems. We need to unlearn some of the theories. We need to remove defeated mindset among the African intellectuals. We need to build technological production teams. People should start thinking in team. You cannot have technologies unless you start thinking in a team. We need to sensitize and understanding on practical investments among the students. We are going to sensitize them. We are going to prepare the students to be able to make farm implements to improve their agriculture, to process harvests such as cashew nuts and skins and hides. 90% of all the cashew nuts from Tanzania goes out without being processed. We are going to prepare processing equipment and machines in our center. We need to sensitize on the needs for improved competitiveness and effectiveness in businesses. We need to introduce new technologies in production among the Africans. We need to sensitize practical education from the early education to universities. We need to introduce place for development of technologies using people with ideas and using technicians. What are we going to contribute to the communities? We are going to introduce the instructions for practical thinking and brainstorming. People should think practically. We need to contribute in continuing education. We need to diversify our economy. We should not think about selling only. We need also to think about industrialization, about technological development. We need to organize technological dialogues among the African intellectuals. Why not? We need to think practically. So, so far, what is the progress so far, or what we have done? We have already constructed a building which accommodates electrical engineering workshop. We have constructed a computer room. We have constructed a classroom, and a staff room at our site, as you can see in the photographs. In this year, we expect to construct a workshop for welding and fabrication. We need to put equipments for the computers, electrical installation, welding and fabrication, and of course we need about 70 millions to do construction to complete our center. You know, the Bible says that the hands of the diligent shall rule, but the hands of the rest people shall pay taxes. So African intellectuals, we are ruled by other continents because they are diligent in putting what they know into practice. But we Africans are very proud of those theories. Those theories are not enough. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to me.